No sé, creo que sí.
Pero venga, me uno.
Venga. Pero rápido que me voy a tener que salir, corre, antes de que se meta alguien al directo.
Uy.
Venga. He puesto para que no se vean todo el rato los comentarios, para que se vea más de esto, sea más limpio el directo.
A ver... Me uno, tío. Bueno, invítame.
Vale, voy a hacer una cosa, espérate.
Está...
Enseguida,
Vale, no
un
está,
momento.
está privado.
¿Sabes qué voy a hacer? Me voy a poner al Travis Scott porque como es una skin entre comillas negra, ¿sabes? Bueno, entre comillas, ¿sabes? A ver, Ghost.
Te puedo poner a la lujo o al desgastado.
Ghost Banano.
Voy a poner a la lujo.
Invitar. Corre, únete. With the people se
Voy.
llama. Vale, bien. La pongo en privada. XD. Estás
¿Qué ha
pirado,
pasado?
estás
Código de
pirado.
error
Da igual,
86.
te invito otra vez, corre. XD. Vale, se me escucha bastante alto. Voy a hacer una cosa, me voy a bajar el volumen. Sonido.
Nada, código de error 93 ahora.
¿Me escuchas bien?
Sí.
¿Se me escucha alto o bajo?
No, normal.
Vale, bien. Me uno
Vale,
yo. Me uno, ¿me haces líder?
vale. Te hago líder.
Sí.
Voy.
Vale, dale. ¿La tengo en privada? Sí, perfecto. Creo que voy a hacer una cosa. Voy a ver los comentarios desde el móvil directamente.
A ver, ¿cuál es tu canal?
XD.
Para ver el directo.
Voy a mutear el directo directamente. Me voy a dejar autolique. Que hace la mano el que esté libre de pecado. WhatsApp. A ver si nos mete ya. Voy a silenciar el móvil, que no me escriban. Ahí estamos. Vale. A ver, creo que no he terminado. Creo que no he terminado todavía. No sé cuánto
Pues
durará
no digo nada.
directamente.
O sea, digo del documental ese.
Vale, por ahí, recto. Ah, es verdad, mierda, lo malo es que no puedo ver los comentarios. O sea, me sale cuando me escriben alguien. Loco, 4 personas por la cara.
Ya está la peña yendo ahí a lo del
Ya.
documental.
Creo que no ha terminado todavía. Vale, cuando nos acercamos aparecen los subtítulos. Ahora sí. Vale.
Seeing the level and the difference is that, clearly there was a lot of lessons learned there and they've applied them now. And so it definitely seems much more cohesive, and that's been impressive. What has impressed you about what you're seeing, especially from these young people who really have
¿No te
seemed to
salen a ti?
seize this moment?
What I've seen be most beautiful about this time is kids
A lo
have the
mejor es que los
ability
tienes
to
quitados.
adjust and move and be like
Vete a
adults.
HUD.
They're
O
truly
sea,
plotting,
ajustes y
planning,
HUD. Te tiene que
strategizing,
salir por ahí.
organizing, mobilizing. The skateboard kids came in.
Ajustes y HUD.
Usually you would see in the 60s, black people in the black community. We make public protests. We get our heads split open. Sympathetic whites and allies and people who truly believe in freedom, justice, and equality entered the stage. Now not only are you
Mostrar
beating
este
black
texto,
people,
creo que es.
you're dragging off white people. Like
Pues la
it
personita
became
de
a
la derecha del
tapestry,
todo.
a
A ver,
unified front
ajustes.
to give us our most basic civil rights. And now we got to give them that tapestry is happening again, and it's happening in a bigger and better way. I was talking about those skateboard kids. I saw those kids first come in
Aquí
and defend them.
subtítulos,
When police were
opciones.
hacking with people with batons,
Activado.
they held up
¿Ahora?
people to protect them.
Ahora sí.
Most kids who skateboard, my kids skateboard, most skateboard kids in South don't look like me, right? But
Voy a hacer una
I
cosa,
saw
voy a
the
subir el volumen.
skateboard community literally come in and save protesters from beatings, and then they got really frisky and they started attacking back. And I was like, this is, although I don't want violence in the streets because those kids deserve to grow to be adults without being soldiers against the state that their parents pay taxes to. It impressed me that the proletariat showed government that you work for us. And in this moment, we are exercising our right to make public display of the evil that has happened. It makes me proud that
¿Cómo lo puedo poner? ¿De cerca o de lejos para que se vea mejor?
Rarely giving it to people who look like me, people who don't look like me defending.
You made an interesting note and observation about the skateboard crew. And I think anybody who's watching has noticed that it's not just black people who are out here protesting.
No, it's not. It's a tapestry of people.
It's a tapestry of people.
The Amish. The Amish.
Yeah. Wasn't that crazy?
I didn't even know the Amish saw the news.
I was thinking, who told them? Right? I was like, I didn't right?
I was so impressed though. I was so thankful. My heart was filled with joy.
Yeah, so you're seeing all these different types of people that you never thought this issue would resonate with them. It kind of reminds me of your music. Your music is unapologetically pro-black, unapologetically, right?
Absolutely.
But yet, when you look at a Killer Mike fan, it's across multicultural section of people.
Yeah.
Why do you think your music is able to resonate that way, despite the fact that you are also clearly talking to your people?
Yeah, I'm proud to be me. I like me. I like black people. I'm not making no excuses. I'm not making no apologies coming in the door. I love us. I am in love with us. And because I love me, it has nothing to do or affecting my love of others. I have a very good friendship with East Indian cousins, Raj and Neil. They own the store right next to Walters on what's happening. So if you're from Atlanta, you know about Walters. If you're a big guy from Atlanta, you know about, the store right next door. These guys have always just been good to me. Raj went to India. He came back, brought my wife incense, these beautiful little elephant characters. He's proud to be Indian. I've learned about being Indian from my Indian friend. When you're truly who you are, how could you be offended? How could you not love it or like it? Like, man, I'm a part of the original people on earth. I'm from the continent that birthed all humanity. I think when you wear that proudly and unapologetically, and not from a place of needing someone to be below you, there's no reason for people not to like me. I like you. I got plenty of heroes that don't look like me. There's a portrait of John Brown on my wall in my basement. He's a hero. He doesn't have to look like me. You know what I mean? But I refuse to act like people who look like me aren't great. I didn't say good. I didn't say good enough. I didn't say equal. I said great. I'm from a great and mighty people. And if you can't accept that, then maybe I'm not for you. But I believe that because I am simply who I am, I believe that gets accepted. Because you know what? I remember being on a tour bus, and I'm on there with a bunch of Northeasterners because of course, my rap partner's a white guy from Brooklyn. And we're on there and watching Swamp.
Te das cuenta de que tú llevas a si fuéramos los de la tele, tú llevas a la chica y yo llevo a chicos,
¿sabes? And I look at it and I start smiling and I look at the room and say, I got more common with them than any of y'all. And I just walk to the back. Now, because it's the truth.
Bueno, se me acaba de desconectar el mando de la PlayStation justo en el momento indicado.
I grew up more like people on those shows. So I think across cultural lines and across racial lines, people identify with me, but just because I'm your typical American guy.
Me quedo sin batería justo, ¿sabes? El mando, lo que me faltaba.
I'm not going to deny them special. The smart kid went to Morehouse, had an understanding of some cool stuff. I married a beautiful woman, that helps, But
me muteé un momento, ¿vale?
What resonates with people is that I'm a regular guy. One of my best friends in the world is a white.
El volumen.
What resonates with people is that I'm a regular guy. One of my best friends in the world is a white.
Ahora sí.
opt it or be it.
What you're talking about in a very succinct and robust way is really allyship, and that's been a word that you have a lot of, it sounds like you have a lot of really great allies that are in your life. Now in this moment, I've gotten the question constantly, I assume you have too, about how to be an ally. You know, what do I have to do? Right? I've had so many conversations with white people, like really good friends of mine in the last 2 weeks, where all right, guys, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but
hold on
a second. But nevertheless, that being said, is that, you know, what would you say to somebody who wants to not only be an ally, but be a good ally?
You want to be a good ally in this
vienes
moment.
aquí, te cambias la skin y la mochila, lo que tú quieras. Me voy a poner... Yo qué sé, me pongo...
En el escenario principal creo que también está, creo.
¿El qué? ¿Un quad?
¿Eh?
¿Un quad?
No, digo
X, ¿ya ha terminado?
Pretty girl in the front seat rear-ended this guy. Calls me. I pull up to Keith and the police officer. I say if he'll allow me to handle this privately, I just don't want to call my insurance company because, you know, I had just got in an accident. I drive fast. My son, Keith, in good faith, gave me the opportunity to do that, and me and this man became friends. You know, I'm literally friends with this white man who told me about Atlanta pre-white.
Dice, guay, ¿por qué no se ve ahora?
Me sigue muchísima gente.
Vale, ya está.
If we're not open for it to happen. So an allyship with white people doesn't have to be an organization of saving the world. But you do have to do what me and Keith did. You do have to, on blind faith, trust someone who doesn't look like you and allow that person to educate you. So an allyship is not just calling your black friends saying what I do. It's going to black organizations that might be local and saying what am I do. It's calling your friend and saying, what's the next thing you're doing? And I want to be an extra set of hands. Doesn't mean you get to go to the black people meeting, but it does mean if they say I'm going to feed people on Skid Row, you show up, and you show up with empathy and care, you do it. And I'm going to tell you, we need doctors in that space. We need lawyers in that space. We need legislators in that space. You know, we need the people who are really empowered to be in that space because there's some things that need to happen. That once the grassroots people have gotten it here, there needs to be money put behind these things. A lot of the problems that we have now that are erupting could have been solved in 96, 2006, 2016, and all these other years, but we chose not to because we trusted the right thing's going to happen. Right thing's not going to happen unless we make it. And after that, you have the potential to truly be brothers and sisters. You have the potential to be past the letting cultural, national, religious markers evict the fact that I know that I'm talking and I'm with a human being and that our very core past any physical difference. My job is to honor the soul of that other human being. So there's no need to have allies because I'm not at war.
Hace 9 minutos. En el minuto.
There's no need to have an ally because there's no threat of war.
En el minuto 15 nos
I
salimos de
refuse to
esto,
send any 18-year-old boy or girl off to die. And that has to be something that's much, much deeper than policy. Much deeper than the human condition in the last 500 years. We have to get back to that. So that's my humble opinion. I don't know, you know, where that takes white America, but...
¿Se puede bailar? De técnico, océano... Me voy a poner esta. Por los jajas. Ahora cuando vuelva voy a tener la misma skin.
Die. So how can the people who are watching now, how can they keep this conversation, this action, this momentum going?
Take this conversation, get 8 to 10 people around you, your neighbors and people who live within 10 square miles, and start to see what you can do to affect. And then connect with other people that may be in closer proximity, 30, 40, 50 miles, even another city or places that are doing it right, or that are doing it right in other places. Connect with those people. And just you know, if all of us do a little, no one has to do a lot. If all of us pick a little to do, no one will have to do a lot.
That's a word right there. If we all do a little bit, nobody has to do a lot.
Has to do a lot, absolutely.
Nobody has to do a lot. Mike, I have enjoyed this conversation like I enjoy every conversation with you. I can certainly talk to you. Yes, it is mutual. The mutual respect and love of society right here. Thank you, and more importantly, thank you for everything you do on the ground. I mean, so many people. I mean, I knew that you tell the truth the way it needs to be told, but a lot of people during this time of crisis have been exposed to you and understand that. I mean, you really are for the people. This is called We the People. This is you all day long. So thank you for all the work and all the inspiration, all the words, everything that you're adding to this conversation, and more importantly to this action. With that said, we have to say goodbye, but we don't have to get out of here just yet. I'm gonna toss this on to my brother Van Jules, who can take it from here.
Oh, música. Damn.
Jamel and I, we spent the past hour, been talking to Killer Mike.
Lo mejor del documental, la música.
We also got a chance to see that amazing video from Lil Baby. Jamel, what did you get from your conversation with Killer Mike? And more importantly to me, what do you make of this moment?
One thing you can always expect from Killer Mike is blunt honesty. I think that's why a lot of people look at him as a really credible voice right now. He's honest about what he knows and honest about what he doesn't know. So I think when you have those elements, that's going to always make for a pretty good conversation. I'm with you. I mean, this moment, at the same time, is welcome. It's also a little bit surreal in terms of what took us so long to get here, to make sure that we're not always starting from ground zero every time we have to have a significant conversation about race in this country.
Why do you think it's different this time? Because, I mean, there have been videos before, and yet people still now act like they're shocked. Help me understand what's different this time from your point of view. What's your theory?
It's two things that I think stood out about the George Floyd video. One, there was no yeah, but. And granted, in my mind, we've seen videos where there was no yeah, but people nevertheless invented a yeah, but. But in this one, there really wasn't one. Even if you were Stretch Armstrong trying to stretch and find one, there just wasn't one. What always has just stuck with me is the look on this officer's face as he was kneeling on George Floyd's neck. It was so cold. It was as if this were Thursday. And he showed such a little emotion, remorse, any emotion you want to name. He didn't show any of that as he killed a man in the middle of the street with bystanders looking on. So I think that situation, coupled with the fact we had already been reeling from Ahmaud Arbery, we had already been reeling from Breonna Taylor. And even though the situation wasn't fatal, there was definitely a storm of frustration at what happened with Christian Cooper. So this all together leads us to this moment where finally even the most adamant naysayers who wanted to pretend as if this wasn't a structural problem, what could they say? I mean, there was nothing else that could be said, and I think everybody was already fed up, decided now is the moment, now is the time. The world has slowed down because of COVID-19. If we are going to address this needs to happen now.
I've never seen 20, 30 million white people asking black people for leadership. That's interesting, because they say, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, I don't know, Google is a powerful tool. I don't know. I'm realizing now, though, that this is an honest question. How do you think that we as African Americans and our allies can rise to meet a moment like this and actually accept the fact that we may actually have a couple million new allies, and how do we deal with that? That's new for us.
I'm glad you used the word leadership, because there's a difference between us being put in a leadership position and us being put in an educational position. The educational part, we are long past, right? We don't want to be educating anybody else about race. We're not here to soothe you. We're not here to make you feel better. But leadership is something different, and it looks different depending on how you want us to take that leadership. Certainly, we are accustomed to being a voice on these issues. We're accustomed to setting the agenda. It's fine if we continue to lead in that direction. I think what we're looking for is, if this were, a relay race, we want to pass the baton. And we want you to be able to say, okay, here's what we've been feeling about this issue. Here's what needs to happen to change it. The other part of this race is that you got to be willing to run it just as hard and as fast as we are. Because if you're not, that's why we remain stuck in the flying pattern that we've been in for hundreds of years and decades as we've tried to reconcile this issue. So we have to figure out what is the most useful way of allyship. We see a lot of people throwing statements around. We see a lot of people throwing money around. We need that to be a focused effort and more importantly, to be vocal about it. I can't take any more double-sidedness. There can be no more other-siderisms, if I may make up a word, meaning that you give over here and you're a company that is like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, except for in my boardroom where they don't, or except for in my organizational chart where they don't. So I'm done with that, right? That's great. Charity's great. Charity doesn't change structural racism, right? What changes it is when you actively look in your building and ask, why aren't there more Black people in this building, in this boardroom, in this C-suite? So the allies that we have, what you can do, change the structure and cultures of your companies, of your businesses, of wherever it is you have influence. Start there.
The thing I try to tell people is, it puts us in a no-win situation. I want our white sisters and brothers to be better educated and to care more, but I don't want to have to bear the burden of trying to teach and educate all the time. The reason you pay tuition is because it's costly to educate someone. You coming up to me and saying, educate me, that's costly to me emotionally and from a time point of view. Also, I think we have to be very honest. Nobody would go up to somebody and say, teach me Russian in 5 minutes. And by the way, make me feel good about it. But I mean, you wait, hold on a second. Like, you want me to teach you about racism, which is the history of race in America is just as complicated as Russian. And you want me to teach you that in 5 minutes? And also, if I make you feel bad about it in any way, now I got to be your therapist too. And like you said, soothe you or whatever. That's got to stop. I would love for somebody to come to me and say, I made my whole family watch the 13th and read The New Jim Crow and read White Fragility. And we had a question on page 52. Now, hey, we can have that conversation all day long because you're doing your homework, but don't flop on me like you never heard of Google. You want to know about cryptocurrencies or whatever, you find that stuff out before any Black person ever heard of it. So I'm sure you can educate yourself about anything you want to know. I have...
No, pero bueno, está molado. Aquí estamos mi primo y yo comiendo unos mango rolos. Los macizos está ahora en escuadrones. Vamos a darle... Sí. Mira.
¿Dúos normales?
No, sí, dúos normales, sí. Es que están en escuadrones.
Da igual.
Vale. Sí que es verdad que soy tonto haciendo este baile. Me lo voy a quitar ya. Quítate, por favor. Vale, un baile que no tenga copy ahora mismo que tengo por aquí cerca. Por favor, ¿tengo todos con copy o qué? Este mismo, este creo que no tiene. Vale, bien, nos ha metido. Creo que estamos tú y yo solos contra dúos, ¿eh?
Sí, me ha olvidado quitarme la banana, pues nada.
F. Vale, voy a hacer una cosa, a ver si de esto me hace furula. Vale, me voy a meter al vídeo, ¿vale? Y voy a ver si me sale cuando entra alguna persona. Bueno, al vídeo, ¿sabes? Al directo. Y cuando comento, a ver si me sale algo. Hola, voy a poner. Sí, sale que comentar. Vale, entonces bien. Voy a hacer una cosa, aunque me gasto batería de móvil. Lo voy a dejar todo el rato en directo. Espérate, ¿no te tires todavía? Vale, ahí estamos. Hacemos una cosa. Las hacemos... Bueno, da igual. Tú tírate y vente a albercas. Albercas, admitido. Cambia la marca. X, un dúo a cada esquina. Está bien, mola. Mira, ¿ves la estela ahora de la delta? ¿No te carga una estela? No cantes. No cantes. Ostras, unas paz. Vale, bien, unas caras y una pistola. Sí. Todo el mundo muerto. Pregunto, ¿por qué me cambia el inventario? Ya, pero bueno, si nos matan no salimos y ya está. No cante, no cante, tiene copyright. No tengo más. Ah, vale, que no me quedan más cochonetas. Okay. Bueno, GG. ¿Ves la skin que lleva ese? Ah, ya no. No sé ni qué skin era, ¿sabes? Hacemos una cosa, nos piramos, nos salimos. Vale, sí, salte. Salte porque como ha ido cada uno a un lugar.
Uno en parque y el otro que ha llegado más tarde que yo que sé.
No. Es que yo prefiero hacer dúo. Echamos dúo mejor.
Vale.
Venga. Cámbiate la skin ya si quieres.
Sí, es verdad.
Me voy a poner a la Jules. A la Julio. Si te digo la verdad, me queda un poco más de tiempo en el documental para que me cargara el mando.
La desesperada carta de un niño de 8 años adicto al Fortnite, prohíbeme los videojuegos. Pues echo de menos aquel tiempo que iba a clase para tener tiempo para todo. Cuando era yo mismo y no es la hora que me la paso todo el día en el Fortnite. En mi corazón sé que me merezco que me prohíban los videojuegos. Pero mi cerebro dice que no sé qué, no sé cuánto, ya que esta letra es más mala que no sé qué leer.
¿Qué cojones?
Tío.
What the fuck, tío, o sea, me rayo. Adicto al Fortnite. Al Fortnite. Hacemos challenge. Termino este directo y hago un directo que sea haciendo retos. En plan, reto de solo pescando o reto de solo armas verdes, ¿sabes? Vale, terminamos esta partida. A ver si la podemos terminar como el último directo, que lo terminé con una victoria. Vamos a echar 2 partidas y ya lo terminamos. ¿Te parece? Estas 2 partidas normales. Ganando solo con armas y cojamos en el lobby. Nah, no, porque no tenemos tan buen ping como otros youtubers, ¿sabes? Que les mete directo al lobby. O sea, no. A mí, por ejemplo, hay veces que me mete ya cuando el autobús acaba de empezar, ¿sabes? O cuando el autobús ya va por arenas ardientes, ¿sabes? O cuando ya me deja tirarme del autobús. Vale, pues nos vamos a tirar a señorío para que entre comillas sea una partida rápida. Echamos esta y echamos otra. Molaría despedir el directo con una victoria, eso sí. ¿Cómo le puedo llamar el título? Bueno, ahora te lo digo cuando corte directo. Sardini. Debe caer en esta casa. He conseguido un arma. Yo tengo armas, he conseguido armas.
Se viene muerte de Rubén.
Uno muerto. Espero que te estés refiriendo a la tuya.
Sí, es la mía, en mi caso.
Voy contigo. Mierda, vaya mierda de colchoneta, tío. Soy malo hasta por tirar colchoneta. Ostras, te lo he explicado. ¿Te lo has matado? Qué bueno. Buenísimo. Bajo. Bajo contigo. Tienes aquí un botiquín y te traigo un mini. ¿Tienes escopeta? Vale. Yo voy a pillar este cofre a ver si me toca una escopeta. Un fusil al menos. Un fusil. Está bien. No me voy a quejar. Han tirado aquí una de estos. Algo que un bengalazo. En esta casa. Y en esa también. No. Han tirado bengalazo.
Podemos hacer ganando solo.
¿Uno muerto? ¿De aquí? A matar al último jugador a pico. Me han dado en el aire a mí con una bengala. Ahora mismo. Bueno, espérate que hay un truco con arpón, ¿sabes? Te lo han matado. Ah, vale, ¿qué has sido tú, el del arpón? Flipo. Vámonos, corre. Vente al camión, corre. Ya ves. Tienes toda la maldita razón. Corre. A ver, salir con 2 kills de señorío está bien. Ah, mira el lado bueno, hemos salido con 2 kills de señorío. Ojalá. Dos kills y casi 200. Bueno, todo 200 casi. No. Vale, mato con sniper. No sé, tengo 7 balas. Bueno, 6. Una del sniper y las otras de esto. Yo no quiero que se desinunde el mapa, así me gusta más. Ya, es que es en alberca, es que aquí se supone que también van a haber desafíos. De anillos, de esos. Ostras. 105 muerto. Voy a rematarlo. Por espabilado, ¿sabes? Mírale, aquí arriba. No sé ni qué skin era, ¿sabes? Déjame luz. Ostras. Ostras. Ostras, eso digo yo. Ostras por 4. Cúbreme. El de las torres. Bueno, no sé. Sube con él. Ve bajando que lo voy a tirar. Queda una construcción para tirar. Vale. Cae. XD doble con. A ver, te metieron el mío. Sí. Caemos incluso 3, creo, con el cono. Ven conmigo. Lo he tirado ya. Mira, ven conmigo. Ven conmigo, que aquí hay splash de este. Aquí. Había una táctica del que he matado yo, azul. Del snipazo. Ven. Vente. Vamos a echarnos esto, vamos a echarnos esto. Ya está, ahora te voy a buscar, pero ven, corre. Que va a venir la tormenta. Dame balas, dame balas. Mete un gol, que tienes un desafío. Sí.
Ahí está la táctica azul.
La veo ahora, ¿sabes? ¿Dónde está?
Ahí más arriba en ese tejado.
Ah, mírala. Casi todos tienen algo legendario, pero que a lo mejor no tener legendario y te puede soltar algo gris, ¿sabes? A ver, entre dos no tardamos nada, ¿sabes? Hace tú que dispara con el Lo que pasa con los tiburones es que tienen 2000 de vida. Espérate que salte y le matamos a tiro. Oh, déjamela. Ah. Corre. Nah, llegamos. ¿Volvemos a por los de señorío? Espérate que a lo mejor el directo sí que va a ser verdad que se despide con una victoria, un tío aquí. Déjamelo. Joder. Y el otro se lo acaban de matar. Creo que no era malo, creo que era un bot. Pues claro, sería un bot. Si matas a uno, eres mi ídolo. Un tío que viene. ¿Se está pirando o está viniendo? Va flying, ese. Nunca mejor dicho. Vamos, ¿le hacemos focus a este? Se va a subir el lanza o algo así. Le he roto una colchoneta para que no pueda oír tanto. Vente a zona, vamos a meternos tú y yo en zona. Sí. Bueno, está campeando la zona, un pibe. Vale. ¡No! ¿Qué? Lo tengo atrás, no me he enterado. Baja aquí, intenta reanimarme, Inténtalo, que vas a morir, hazme caso. Que es una bala y te mata, lo sabía. Es que era una bala y te mataba. GG. Venga. Vale, pues el directo lo termino ya. Bueno, gente, terminamos el directo, pero empezamos otro haciendo retos, ¿vale? Venga, hasta luego.